Hello, everybody. My name is Kelly Formal. I do academic advising for the MSW program for Statewide Blended and Weekend Program Options.
I'm Paul Drupchek. I'm the East Lansing Academic Advisor for the MSW program. Today we're going to talk about professional development and ethics for the social work program as well as social workers in general. So today we're talking about an introduction to ethics and professional standards. So as a start, social work is a profession. What that means is that we have a code of ethics that we follow as social workers, as licensed social workers. There are standards that are standards and codes that we are expected to follow while practicing as social workers in the field. So it's really important to think about that. How that separates us from other fields or disciplines is that we actually have to follow this entire code and practice how we are supposed to practice in an ethical manner to provide support for the clients and workers that we work with. So with that, there are also professional expectations for the program and for post-graduation. So even while you are in the program as an MSW student, you are still expected to follow the code of ethics and maintain that high standard of ethical value and practice even before you are officially a social worker outside the program after graduation. So this is the Code of Ethics, the NASW Code of Ethics. You can find it online. It is available in English as well as Spanish and lots of different ways to access it, whether electronically or in paper. But we do expect that students become familiar with and practice the Code of Ethics while in the program and afterwards. It does guide our coursework and practice for in the program as well as afterwards. So we really do hope that it becomes a part of your values and your practice throughout the time that you are working as a social worker. It will be discussed and applied across all courses, so it is not something that comes up once and is done with, but it really is integrated as best we can across all of the coursework.
And the way that the program curriculum is set up is that there isn't one course designated or designed to cover this. And like Paul said, the idea is that it's being applied and integrated through all of your coursework. And so the hope and expectation is that your instructors will be integrating that as well as within your work that you do for those courses, that you are showing mastery of that, and that you know what the values are, you know what the standards are for practice. So it really is supposed to be kind of a working document in the sense of being able to apply in all of the different courses and all of the different types of work that we as social workers do.
Thank you, Kelly, for that. So our 6 core values are up there as well. So really it is important to think about these: the service, importance and centrality of human relationships, social justice, integrity, dignity and worth of the person, and competence. Those are all very important to us as social workers overall. We also have professional standards and expectations that may not always look the same as the Code of Ethics, but are really important and integral to social work as well. So we have expectations to operate as a professional in the field while in field placement, classes, and when out in the wider world. So even though you may not be practicing as a social worker and what you may think of, it really is important to think about that across all of your systems that you are involved with. So while in your field placement or internship, it is expected and required that you maintain that ethical standard, as well as in classes and all communication with instructors and everyone else, and also when out even with friends, maintaining that kind of standard of thinking about you as a social worker and your interactions with people and environments around you. So this quote from our MSW manual says, "Professional and ethical behavior in the university context applies not only to work with clients, but to interactions, relationships, or communications with fellow students, faculty, staff, field liaisons, and instructors, and all others within the university or with whom students have contact in their role as a 14 MSW student. This includes interactions, relationships, or communications in person or via the use of technology." So what this really includes also is any kind of electronic communication, whether that are even phones, but texts or emails. All of those are really important to consider, whether with faculty or anyone else in the program, and just maintaining that high level of expectation and how you communicate with those around you.
So we wanted to kind of identify and make sure that you're clear with regards to those expectations, and then we now want to talk about how we actually do that. So how can students demonstrate professional behavior? So what are we looking for you as a student in the program? What are the faculty and your students that are in your program option and all throughout the whole entire school? One is in the way that you present yourself. So making sure that whenever you are doing any kind of work with other people, that you're presenting yourself according to those standards and ethics. in how you act, of course, similar to how you present yourself and how you approach people. So how you're communicating with them, how you're speaking with them via phone or email, any kind of communication specifically on behalf of the school, but also just in your life, like Paul had said. We want to make sure that we're really holding ourselves to the highest standard. And as Paul had mentioned previously, there are things that set us apart from other disciplines, and our code is one of those. And so we want to make sure that we're living that code, not just memorizing it and knowing what is in there. Lastly, citing sources appropriately. The social work field uses the APA manual as the guide for that, and we want to make sure that we're giving credit to those who have done the research and done the work to get a lot of great information that we have at our fingertips, and so we want to make sure that we're giving credit, and so we need to make sure that we are citing appropriately, and that's a way of demonstrating that professional behavior. So communication is a subcategory of that. So like I talked about, in the way that you present yourself and in any kind of communication, we need to make sure that we are being very appropriate and professional with regards to that. So a couple things to highlight with regards to that. Speak on behalf of yourself only. I know it's easy to get wrapped up and say, well, the whole class feels a certain way about a decision that was made or an outcome of something or about the instructor that you guys have. And we really recommend, and this goes into practice, that you really are advocating for yourself. And it's wonderful as social workers, we advocate for ourselves and others, but the others comes when it's appropriate and in an appropriate way. And so we want to make sure that if you're speaking on behalf of, you need to only be speaking on behalf of yourself. Golden rule, so of course, just making sure that you're treating other people like you would like to be treated, and that you're doing your part in moving the profession forward. Not fishing for answers, so making sure that you're going to the right people, the appropriate people, getting the information and the answers that you need, and then knowing that that decision is what should stand, and working within that. And if it needs to go back to advocating after that decision has been told to you, that's fine too, but making sure that you're not just searching around for answers to get the one that you would like. Following a chain of command, following ethics, those are huge in the sense of making sure that you're respecting the people that are in the positions, and that you're following those code of ethics and the importance of human relationships. Email is huge. It's a major way that communication is done between us as faculty and administrators in the program, as well as between you guys as students. And so making sure that you're using your MSU email, that's really helpful. Specifically as administrators and instructors, it's hard to know personal email addresses and who we're talking with, and we want to make sure that we get you the right information. So make sure that you're checking your email on a regular basis, and that you're using that for your main source of communication with that. Be thorough in reading and responding, so just making sure that you are answering questions or getting the information to the people that need it if they're asking for something. Making sure that you're using your name. That's easy enough, but often something that we just forget to do. We just kind of get going on the content of the email and forget that the person on the receiving end may not know who it's coming from. So just making sure that you're identifying yourself and identifying where you fit into the program. And that's just really helpful so that we can, again, make sure that the right information is getting your way. So the manual, that's a really great resource for you. And although not the most enjoyable thing to read, it's very, very helpful. And we recommend that you just review it. Just be aware that all the academic policies, field placement policies, and all the rights and responsibilities for you as a student, specifically in the MSW program here at MSU, that you are just in the know about things. The link is there. It's on the social work page. So if you just go to socialwork.msu.edu, you can go in and find it that way. The direct link is there. But like I said, it's just a really great resource so that you know exactly with regards to grading policy, if you need to contact someone outside of the school with regards to any kind of issue that you may have or questions that you have, the contact information is there. And so it's just really good so that we're all on the same page, we're being transparent, and we just know what we're expected to do. There's also university resources. So again, if it's something outside of the School of Social Work and something that's designated as the piece, there's lots of parts of the system. And so if there's something outside of the school that is needed or is helpful, these are a couple of the main ones. The first one is actually advising within the School of Social Work in a field education, but the ombudsperson is one that is outside of the school, and that's actually at the university level, and the link is right there, so you can go check that out. And that's specifically with regards to rights and responsibilities, any kind of grievance policies. So if there are concerns that need to be taken to that level, then that's a great resource for you.
We do recommend that you talk to us first or talk within the school first to find out, kind of taking up that chain of command and not just jumping straight to the highest person you can find, but bringing it to usually advising first or whoever might be helpful. The other part for the advising help is that link is a lot of other links within the university process, so it is helpful to find other specific helps if you have any need for anything. We're also happy to help go over it if you need any specific help navigating it. So in conclusion, you are responsible for learning the rules and regulations that govern your life at the university. This is from the Ombudsperson Office at MSU. So it really is that self of the therapist first and managing and your own self. So being able to know what you need to know first and being able to manage and learn the rules for the system that you are living in. So we hope this was helpful and best of luck while you're in the program.